Welcome back, guys and gals. Matty back again. As you guys can probably tell by the title of this video, we are talking another gear loadout today. This is one a lot of you guys and gals have been asking about. This is my hammock backpacking gear loadout. Now, the big difference between my hammock backpacking gear load and a lot of other people's backpacking gear loadout is I pretty much exclusively hike with my gorgeous girl, Wanda. Now, Wanda's not here right now, and I had every intention of trying to film this one with her here, but my fiance Lizzie's got her out and about right now, so I'm stuck doing this one on my own. But even without Wanda here, we are going to talk about Wanda's gear a little bit. Now, this is Wanda's Mountainsmith K9 pack. This is her new pack that she's been rocking for 2020. We're absolutely in love with this pack. We've done a recent video on this pack. I'll put a link in the description box down below if you guys want to check that out. And if you guys are interested in any of the gear Wanda carries in her pack, I'll put a card up over here for you guys so you guys can check that out and see all the gear that Wanda carries for our backpacking trips. Now, with Wanda's pack out of the way, we're going to dive into my pack. And what I've got for you guys is I went and did another lighter pack list. So if you guys want to check that one out, I'll put a link in the description box down below. If you guys want to follow along and see all the gear that I'm carrying in my pack, I've got some descriptions and weights listed for all the gear that I'm carrying. The total loadout for my pack, the base weight, is 14.29 pounds, which may seem like quite a bit, but I guarantee you guys I've got a far different hammock setup than you guys have probably seen anybody out there carrying. Like I said, I do exclusively backpack with my dog, and I am carrying gear in my pack for my dog. And as we get going through my pack, you guys are going to see I got some pretty sweet custom gear for myself and my dog. So let's dive into my pack, and as we're going through it, you guys will kind of get an idea of how I load my pack for my backpacking trips. First thing we're going to talk about is two very important pieces of health and safety gear. Now, if you guys have seen any of my trip videos, these two pieces of gear you see in pretty much every shot that I ever have of myself out in the backcountry. That's my bear spray and my inReach. My bear spray cost me 10 ounces, and my DeLorme inReach is 6 ounces. With the health and safety stuff out of the way, we're going to dive into my pack. This is my Osprey Exos 58. I don't carry the brain on my pack, and I've trimmed a couple of the straps to save myself a couple ounces here and there. But I've got this pack down to 34 ounces as it is right now. I'm pretty happy with that. I know I could go with a lighter pack, but I'm absolutely in love with the comfort of this Osprey pack, and 34 ounces is pretty good to me. First piece of Wanda related gear you guys will see pretty much always strapped to the bottom of my pack is this blue foam roll. It's just one of those 1/2 inch thick blue foam sleeping pads that I've cut down to about her size. It weighs 5 ounces. As you can probably see, it's a little beat up and abused, but it just gives her a little bit of insulation from the cold ground when she's sleeping down below me. The Exos 58 has pockets on either side of the pack. They're kind of little stretchy pockets for your water bottles. In one of those pockets, I also carry my Thermarest Z-Seat. This thing weighs 2 ounces. And my Z-Seat is also part of my sleep system. This goes inside my top quilt and gives me a little bit of extra warmth, because I use a partial length underquilt that only goes to about the back of my knees. So my heels rest on here and my calves. This essentially helps keep the back of my legs warm on those cooler nights. So yeah, my Thermarest Z-Seat is pretty essential to my backpacking loadout with my hammock. And on those two side pockets, I carry two 1 liter smart bottles. These guys weigh 1.25 ounces a piece. This little white guy here, this is my tent stakes. I carry 10 titanium shepherd hook tent stakes. All 10 stakes weigh 2.25 ounces. Also carry my fuel bottle out front on my pack. This is a 10-ounce fuel bottle. I use an alcohol stove, so I like keeping my fuel outside my pack just in case it ever leaks. It's not going to leak into my pack and get all my stuff wet, but the fuel bottle weighs 1 ounce itself. Coming in at 2.25 ounces, my Patagonia bee-free. You guys are probably tired of hearing me rant and rave about how much I absolutely love this water filter, but I can't say enough good things about the Patagonia bee-free. This is probably going to be my water filter for a very, very long time. Until something lighter and more packable comes out on the market, I will be rocking the Patagonia bee-free, but I absolutely love this water filter. And the last thing I carry on the outside of my pack is my UGQ Winter Dream 12. This is my big gray tarp you guys probably see in all my backpacking trips. This guy weighs 24 ounces. That includes the continuous ridge line and all my guy outs and all my Dutch bling on this tarp. I haven't actually done a video on this tarp yet. I do intend to at some point in time. But yeah, I do rock a UGQ Winter Dream 12 for my tarp setup. The very first thing you're going to find when you open the top of my pack is going to be my rain jacket. This is my Frog Togs rain jacket. This thing weighs 4 ounces and it cost me 20 bucks. Next up here is my cook set. This is my Tokes Titanium 550 with my homemade alcohol stove and windscreen and all that kind of stuff inside there. I'm not going to go over too much detail on my cook setup. If you guys are interested in what I carry for a cook system, I'll pop a card up here for you guys. I've done a whole video on my complete cook system. This thing weighs 4.5 ounces, and the titanium spork weighs 1/2 ounce. So 5 ounces right here for my entire cook setup. Next thing at the top of my pack is my Ursack Major XL. This is my food bag that I've gone with. This guy weighs 8 ounces. If you're not sure what an Ursack is, it's basically a bear-resistant bag. Like I mentioned at the start, I hike a lot in grizzly territory. So instead of having to hang a food bag, I can just tie my Ursack to a tree and bears are not going to be able to get into it. So yeah, 8 ounces for my Ursack Major XL. And then I've just got a little Reflectix koozie that I've made. This guy weighs 1.5 ounce. This is for rehydrating my homemade dehydrated meals. I don't like doing the store-bought meals. I only really do the store-bought meals when I don't have time to make my own. But I do prefer doing my own home dehydrated meals. And a little Reflectix koozie for keeping my meals warm when they're rehydrating. Here I've got my custom Hilltops Pack Dyneema stuff sack. This is what I keep all my clothes in. So I've got my Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer, my Merino Buff, a spare shirt, a spare pair of socks, spare underwear, and my tights that I carry. In this stuff sack here, I keep my headlamp, which is 2 ounces, my first aid kit, which is 4.5 ounces, my toiletry kit, which is 3.2 ounces, and my knife, which is 1 ounce, and the still stuff sack itself weighs 0.35 ounces. This here is Wanda's Oilers fleece blanket. This weighs about 8 ounces. This is what I carry for her bedding at night. She generally doesn't need it, but it just kind of gives me peace of mind that on a cooler night, or if it's windy out, or if she goes to bed wet, I can throw this over top of her, and being fleece, she'll actually dry herself out pretty quick with her body heat. So I do carry a fleece blanket for her, and like I said, weighs 8 ounces. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. In this stuff sack here, this is my tree straps, my Dutch hooks, my whoopee slings, and my toggles. My whoopee sling suspension is actually one thing that I've never changed from my backpacking setup. This guy weighs 5 ounces, and the reason I carry it in its own stuff sack is in case I ever get tree sap on my straps, I like being able to pack that away so I'm not getting tree sap all over the rest of my gear. But that's my suspension. Not sure if you can read the label here on the stuff sack, but this is my Dream Hammock Raven. Now, this here, I will say, is the absolute most comfortable hammock I have ever laid in. I cannot rave enough about my Dream Hammock Raven, and I haven't made a video on it yet, but I am intending on making a video on my Dream Hammock Raven. But yeah, this is the gorgeous blue hammock that I have been rocking this year. 12.6 ounces for my Raven without the bug net. Now, one of the advantages of going with the Raven, and the reason I went with it, is because I can take the bug net off and I can leave the bug net at home. And the reason that's important for me is this guy right here. This here was my absolute favorite piece of gear that I got in 2019, and it is still one of my absolute favorite pieces of gear. I'll say this guy right here is probably my favorite piece of gear I've ever bought for my hammock setup. This is my Cave Creek Pet Palace. This guy weighs 21 ounces, and if you're not sure what the Pet Palace is, this is the fully integrated bug net and bathtub floor that hangs over my hammock, and it allows Wanda to sleep underneath me. She's completely sealed inside, so she's not getting eaten by bugs. I cannot say enough good things about my Pet Palace. If you guys want to check out the Pet Palace, I've got a video that I've done on it, and I'll link it up over here for you guys. Yeah, that's my Cave Creek Pet Palace. I absolutely love this piece of gear. Now we're getting into the insulation portion of my setup. This here is my UGQ Bandit 20-degree top quilt. This guy weighs 21.6 ounces. You're probably tired of me ranting and raving about my Bandit. But if you want to check out my video I've done on this, I will link it up in the cards over here for you guys. And coming in at 18.6 ounces, this is my Little Shop of Hammocks Spectre partial underquilt. Now, like I was saying before, when I talked about my Thermarest Z-Seat, this is a partial length underquilt, so it's a little bit shorter than most underquilts, and it only comes to about the back of my knees. But I do use my Thermarest Z-Seat as part of my sleep system. But yeah, this is my underquilt that I use to keep my bottom half warm and avoid cold butt syndrome when I'm in my hammock. Just like that, my pack is completely empty. Now, if you guys enjoyed this one and you guys are interested in what I use on a ground sleeping setup, what I got up over here is a video I recently did on my ground sleeping setup. So when you guys are done watching this one, head over there, check that one out. As always, guys, I am Matty. Thank you guys so dang much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.